Look at that. It looks incredible. This video is all about what I do in the autumn and how I approach the photos a little bit differently than I do normally. I take a bit more of an abstract kind of painterly view of the scenes. All right, I'll go and find some different compositions. This one's all about having a bit of fun and sharing some thoughts and ideas along the way. I really hope you enjoy this video. So I just moved the tripod around a little bit from where I introduced the video, and I found this pretty nice little scene. We've got this amazing tree here. It's absolutely covered in little yellow leaves. I probably only have about a week or two in which I can get these kind of images, because what happens is you usually get some stronger winds or heavier rain and the leaves just start to fall off. So you only have a really small pocket of opportunity to be able to get these really rich, vibrant autumn colours. Now, as I mentioned in the start of the video, there's a slightly different way that I approach these autumn photos in the woodlands. And the way that is instead of how I'd normally try and look for kind of an interesting tree or set of trees, instead I try to start thinking of it more in a slightly abstract kind of way. So by that, if you think about kind of abstract paintings or paintings with lots of kind of splashes of colour and brush strokes and things, that's how I like to approach these autumn images. So if you look at this scene, instead of thinking, oh, look at that nice tree here, what I like to think of it is look at the splatter of colour. So I like to think of all of it as a kind of big sensory overload of different colours that are all splattered across my image. We've also got all these amazing little white flowered kind of plants on the floor, and they all just work together to create a lot of texture and lots of different colours. So yeah, that's one of the most important things that I'd like to stress in these autumn images, is to try and switch into kind of maybe more of an abstract way of thinking. At least that's just one way to approach the autumn scenes. I'd love to hear if you've got any ways that you approach your autumn scenes as well. It's great to hear some comments from you, so please feel free to share them below. All right, I'm going to try and set up some different compositions. I think I'll just try and stick in this area mainly today. I say that, I'll try and stay calm and stick in this area. We'll see what happens. But it's just really, really amazing. Love all of these birch trees. They look incredible this time of year. So let's see what we get. Okay, so I'm still actually in pretty much the same spot. I haven't been running around like mad too much today, like I often am. But what I wanted to also share with you here was some other thoughts I'd had. This is very true with birch trees in general, but also definitely in these autumn scenes when you've got these nice kind of vibrant yellows and orange colours. And what's really good to do is if you can find a spot, locate a spot where you haven't got too much sky, or by that I mean maybe behind you, like we have here, there's a bit of a raised kind of hill. And what it does is, as you can see, it creates kind of a dark background for the image, and it creates a lot of contrast between the bright yellows and the darker the background. It just helps for those colours to pop off. And just that contrast kind of helps to create a more interesting looking image. And then the other thing that I'm often doing when I'm just doing these kind of more abstract kind of autumn style images is I often tend to shoot at a much kind of tighter focal length. So I shoot in maybe more like 85 or 100. So if you have got a longer lens, I would recommend you pop that on. Just quickly let you know, I nearly always am using a 24 to 105 in my woodland images. You might have noticed that on the videos at the bottom, and that's just because it's so versatile. You can get lots of different types of shots out of it. But yeah, like I said, in this area, for example, I'm really more often than not shooting at around 85, even up to 105, just to compress everything in. Because like I said, instead of trying to concentrate on creating a whole scene, in these kind of images, I'm trying to just create these explosions of colour. So I just want to sort of compress together the background and the foreground and just create this, yeah, these kind of splashes of colour, like I said. So yeah, that's just a couple of little tips for you. If you are struggling to find an area where it's got a really kind of raised area behind it or a darker background, what can help quite a lot is if you just try to get your tripod up as high as possible and shoot down a bit, just to avoid getting too much sky in or too many bright areas, which will get rid of the contrast. So yeah, that's just a few little tips. I hope those are helpful for you. If you've got any of your own, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much and enjoy these images. I've been really enjoying today. It's been really great and kind of really relaxing to throw all the stuff I normally do out the window of concentrating on really specific trees or scenes or trying to put together quite complicated compositions, and instead just relax and enjoy picking out colours and going for everything in a bit more of an abstract way. And I realised while I was making this, probably not everyone watching this has the luxury of having kind of autumn seasons and all these amazing colours that come out. But I was thinking, I really don't think that matters. I think obviously it's nice to have all these autumn colours, but this idea of going out and just every so often looking at everything in a bit more of an abstract way and just looking out for colours and shapes and things like that in your images can be really beneficial, even when you go back to your main kind of more complicated compositions, if you like, because then you start thinking more about the kind of feeling of the image as well as just those items that are in the scene. But yeah, I really hope that's useful as well. And I hope that does stress the point that it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you've got some area where you can practice, even if it's just a small local woods and you don't get these seasons, I think it's still possible to have a play around and do some of these abstract, slightly more abstract and outside of the box kind of way of thinking about your images. All right, I'm going to carry on shooting because I'm really enjoying this, and I really hope you're enjoying this video too. So I just walked around a little bit further and I've got this lovely little scene here. Got all these nice birch trees. And again, I'm just looking at kind of the contrast here. That's what I'm more focusing on, is the colour, the contrast and these shapes created by the birch trees, rather than looking at it as kind of a whole scene where I have to kind of think about all the trees. And we've got the amazing kind of splashes of colour in the background, these little oranges and yellow colours. And I think just having them slightly out of focus, it makes this kind of nice background to contrast against all of these birch trees here. Nice and simple. I'm not being too sort of pernickety with how I position everything in this one. Like I said, it's just more about the feeling and the contrast we're creating here. I try shooting at a few different focal lengths. I'm shooting at around 70, I think it's about 70 to 80 I'm shooting at, just to compress everything in a little bit more. And I'm shooting, the tripod's quite far up, up the hill, so I'm quite far away from you, but I've zoomed in quite a lot. So yeah, I've just shot from quite high up and far away and sort of tried to compress everything in, just to kind of bring everything together and create the kind of nice softness to the colours and stuff like that. But yeah, really, really fun, nice, simple composition. Let's see how it looks. I'll get a vertical and a landscape, I think. Okay, so I think I'm going to head home pretty soon. My hands are absolutely freezing, so if anyone could recommend a good pair of photography gloves, which they've used, that would be really appreciated. I know you can get those ones where the fingers lift up, and when winter comes, I'm going to be really grateful if anyone could recommend me a pair they've used and they know are particularly good. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of wrap everything up and conclude by saying I've really enjoyed this morning of just coming out and thinking a little bit more outside the box and being a bit more relaxed and a bit more loose with how I approach the compositions and the photos. And I'm by no means an abstract photographer. I don't claim to be, but I just think it's a really good practice every once in a while for landscape and woodland photographers to kind of come out and have a day or a morning of just abstract shooting, just concentrating on colours and feelings and things rather than getting fixated on the main big compositions. And I think it's just really good fun, if nothing else, but also it helps you when you do come back to those big compositions to maybe think about other elements as well, such as the feelings, such as the colours, and it helps you just kind of have a bit more of a kind of keen eye for certain things when you're searching for your compositions as well. But yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. I've really enjoyed it. Hopefully I got some good images. If you have enjoyed this video and you have found it useful, I'd ask if you could hit the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. I've got lots more videos coming soon. So as always, thank you for watching and I'll join you next time.